I'm going to talk to you guys about my experience with dicamba this year. The in-crop versions. Overall, had a really good experience with it. It was super beneficial to us. Helped us out a lot in our weed control. It just straighten you guys up there. It helped out a lot, but we've had a good year. The chemical and everything worked really well this year for us. But the thing that kind of makes me laugh about dicamba for these people, and really kind of my only concern with it is we had some damage, but I don't know if you can really call it damage, because if it don't kill them, in our experience, which I haven't heard of one instance where it's killed them, it makes them stronger. They bushed, they've put a lot more pods on. It's one of them deals. But you get all these people, and one of the main reasons why they are so, in my opinion, of course, it ain't worth the real, my opinion ain't worth shit, but my honest opinion as to why people are getting so upset when they go out and they see these fields that have been dinged is because they're operating at below break-even costs as it is. The markets are shit, and their profitability isn't looking so hot. And so when they go out there and they see beans that are a foot shorter than everybody else's because of damage, then you have automatically your mind thinks that, oh well, it's going to yield less. Well, you have no way of knowing if it's going to yield less or not until you run a damn combine through it. So when you go out here and you start suing people and all this bullshit about about saying yield loss and all this crap, you're full of shit. You have no basis. Your argument has no basis, has no grounds. And the one thing where I could see that could be a potential problem with somebody is your organic growers. Because in order to be organically certified, you cannot have any pesticide, chemical, genetically modified seed, anything even drift over onto you for 3 years to be certified organic. It's called a transition period. And that would be the only thing that I'd be worried about, is messing up somebody's certification on their ground. No, the dicamba damage that we had was self-inflicted. I mean, we didn't get I will say my only complaint with dicamba is it's harder than hell to get it out of a sprayer once it's in there. I mean, your strainers, your end caps on your sections, I mean, all of that stuff you've got to about clean with a toothpick, and scrape out all that gunk. And you can't just run ammonia and tank cleaner through it. It doesn't get it. You'll have some damage. But no, it's quite amazing at how it didn't the beans that we hurt would probably be some of the best conventional beans that we've ever raised in our farm. I mean, they really look good. I mean, we kept colored them. It stopped their growing. This didn't stop their growing point, I guess, but they didn't get any taller. and they just bushed out. Like, there's a guy up in, these tests that they've done side by side, and he was telling us that, you could go out there and have beans that were tolerant to it and not tolerant right next to it, and they've been drifted over or whatever, it volatilized. Because physical drift isn't the problem, it's the volatility of it. But it went over and it laid down on some of those beans, and when you pulled the plants side by side, because they were planted side by side, 15 inches apart from each other, and you look at them, and both plants had the same pod count. I mean, we thought we had a little case where we got some beans, but it ended up being some contamination, and you go back and look at those beans now, and it's contamination from the neighbor. But if you go back and look at those beans now, they look as good as what beans he's ever raised. I mean, they're on that piece, but no, I think it's getting blown out of proportion, and it all comes down to money. I mean, people are looking for that payday because they're already operating at below break-even cost for a lot of people, and they're wanting a way out of it, and that's not it. Like, I mean, there's a guy that sued, that I've heard of. I don't know his name or anything, or well, if I did, I wouldn't put it out, but it's none of my business. It's just, and it's kind of, them deals they get to be kind of like fishing stories. Every time it gets told, it gets bigger and bigger, but it started out with some truth to it. But he allegedly had some beans dinged, and he sued 18 of his neighbors. Well, okay. And so when the third party rep came out to do tissue samples on the fields that were supposedly cupped, when it came back, not one tissue sample had any form of dicamba in it. So now he's sued 18 of his neighbors. Now he has 18 of his neighbors that want to kick his ass, and his lawsuit, or his whole grounds of him suing them, has no basis to it. I mean, so now, I mean, he's done. That was the last. He'll never farm around that area again. I mean, he was calling people up and threatening to sue them before they had even sprayed. I mean, it's just, and it's kind of a double-edged deal. If you follow the label, leave your buffer, everything by the book. And what I think a lot of people need to start doing is recording when they're spraying with one of these little cameras. They could really save their ass. If you do everything by the book, and then you have inversion, and then that's considered an act of God, and you cannot sue on an act of God. So it's not considered negligence if you follow the label, which is kind of, I mean, I'm neutral. I mean, if you want to run Liberty, run Liberty. I don't bash you saying you're a shitty farmer and a bad person because you run Liberty. So because I choose to run dicamba, don't say I'm a bad person and a shitty farmer because I run dicamba. Just like if you're an organic farmer, I don't call you a shitty farmer, and I don't say that your products are shit. So don't say, what I produce is shit, and that I'm a bad person and I'm the Antichrist because I'm spraying the devil's piss or whatever the hell you guys are calling it. That's just, it just kind of, I try to remain neutral. I don't go where you're working and throw rocks at you. Don't do the same to us. I mean, you know, we're just out here trying to make a living like everybody else, and you know, it's just, I mean, and these beans right here, these are dicamba beans, and they look amazing. Those beans right there, we sprayed them once. Our conventional beans, we sprayed them, I think, 4 times now. And even with the cost of this seed and the chemical, these beans only have to be a half a bushel better to be more profitable than our conventional beans that we didn't have any seed cost in, other than what we could have sold them for at market. Because you go from spending $17 an acre in chemical on these extends to almost $50 an acre on the conventional side. I mean, and having to spray it 4 times, that was $50 just in chemical, not including the, you know, the application of it. You know, that's not free. I mean, it costs us money to run that sprayer across it. I mean, it's just, you know, each is of their own. I mean, that's the beauty about free enterprise. You can do whatever the hell you want to do within, you know, within reason. I mean, so anyway, that's my little take on dicamba. But anyway, we'll catch y'all later.